Alrighty. Hello everybody, welcome to the channel. My name is Dalan Vanterpool, host of the Focus the Fire podcast, where we share essential career advice to get you to enjoy a meaningful career that leads to more time, money, and freedom. Today, we're talking about how to quit your job like a boss. If you've ever had to quit a job, you know that there's a right and wrong way to do this. Even if you've seen someone else quit a job, you know that there's a right and wrong way to do this. Today, we're gonna teach you how to do this with style, class, and integrity. Let's jump right into it. So you're trying to decide whether you need to quit your job, whether it's time to get out of here, call it quits, and be done with this phase of your life. How do you know when you're ready to quit? A couple of things to think about. You want to quit a job when you are empty. The rule of thumb I like to follow is leave on empty. Make sure you've learned everything you need to learn, or most of what you want to learn for this season. This is not to say that you have to leave or you have to stick around until you've learned everything possible to learn on the job. There's always more to learn. But once you're satisfied that you have learned everything that you need to learn for this season, then you can start thinking about quitting that job. If you think you've already built up the relationships that you needed to build during that time, then you can start thinking about making some other moves. Another telltale way to know when it's time to quit a job is when there is absolutely no path forward, when there's no path for growth. And I don't just mean this is you being impatient, or this is you being difficult, or this is you not wanting to try new things. If you're in an organization, you're in a position where there really is nowhere to grow. If you're watching this video, if you're listening to Focus the Fire podcast over there at focusthefire.com, I want to believe that you're a high performer. So you're looking to constantly improve yourself, you're looking to do better, you want to try new things. So if there absolutely is no path forward that you can see, you've reached out to mentors, you've reached out to other people in the organization, and there really is nowhere for you to go, then you might want to start thinking about quitting that job. The other telltale sign for me that always makes me think that, this may be about that time, is when I'm looking at the people above me. If I'm looking at the people above me or looking at the people ahead of me and I don't even really want their job, if I don't want their lifestyle, if I'm seeing something in front of me and I'm like, I don't even feel like working toward that, this is when you start knowing that it may be time for you to make a move. The ultimate telltale sign is when you no longer care about being the best. If you don't care about being the best at something. If it's not a situation where you have to have this job or where you're doing it just for the money, or you're trying to have this job so that you're supporting something else that you're really trying to build on the side. If you're doing something in a career that's supposed to be your main thing, this is your main thing that you spend the most of your time on, and you no longer care to be the best, then you might want to start having a conversation with yourself about quitting. If you want more information on that, you can check out Seth Godin's book called The Dip that teaches you about when it's time to quit or stick with something. So that was step one. And remember, we're giving you 5 tips here on how you can quit your job like a boss. Quitting your job like a boss, step 2, actually starts before the quitting conversation begins. Long before you think about whether you want to leave, whether you want to make another move, you actually have to prepare to quit your job. And how do you do that? You prepare to quit your job by starting from day one by doing high quality work. You don't want to quit a job with the lingering feeling where people say, oh, this person couldn't cut it, oh, they weren't good enough. No, you get in there from day one and you're doing high quality work, you're delivering on what you're supposed to do, and you're putting out the kind of product that people expect or hire, so that when you get ready to quit now, you've already built up a reputation. You're there at a job for the money, yes, you want a paycheck, but you're also there to build your reputation and learn skills. Building your reputation has to start long before you think about quitting your job or moving on to the next thing. You want to get those recommendations, you want to get that approval, you want to get that reputation that says this person is excellent at doing XYZ. This person is skilled at executing these kinds of tasks or managing these kinds of projects. So you're working for the recommendation. What I recommend is, even before, remember we're in the preparation phase here, so even before you start thinking about quitting your job, this could be the first year, this could be the second year, start collecting those recommendations so you can get that documented social proof of what you can do. So start documenting those recommendations, whether you're using a simple tool like LinkedIn, which has some great tools for getting public recommendations or endorsements, or you're simply doing it via email. But you want to start preparing yourself to quit this job. You want to also, as part of the preparation process, be thinking about your second, third, fourth, fifth sources of income, right? You want to start thinking about all these other things. Because when you walk out of a job and the folks know that you already have something else going on, the temperature of that conversation changes drastically. If folks think that you're going to be out there struggling and you have nothing else going for yourself, then they can throw little jabs and say, oh, well, you're going to miss it. Oh, you need to stick around here. Are you sure this is something you want to do? But if they know you already have things going on, then you have more leverage in the conversation and you start getting those counter offers to maybe stay, or maybe they want to know what you have going on to possibly join on with that. So step 2 is actually preparing to quit your job. Step number 3 is maintaining your professionalism. I have had to quit enough jobs, not for bad reasons necessarily, whether it's for travel, whether it's I'm moving to a different country, visas expired, international expat life, welcome. Visas are expiring, or whatever it is that's going on. I've had to leave enough jobs to know that you need to maintain your professionalism down to the bitter end. Especially if you've done a great job over the course of your career, over the course of your time in that position, folks might try to look to discredit you at the end of that race. Coming down to the very end of it, they might start applying a little bit of extra pressure. They might start getting irritated by little things because folks know that you're moving on, especially if they suspect that you're moving on to something better than what's there, better than what they have even possibly. Folks can start to throw little jabs or start getting very, very irritable and try to push your buttons to make you compromise in your professionalism. But you gotta hold strong, fake smile if you have to, and make sure you maintain your professionalism down to the very end. This is gonna make a huge difference because even if folks don't wanna give you the credit and say you were an amazing employee, at least there's nothing bad, at least nothing bad that's true, that they can come back and say where, oh, this person blew up or they had an outburst or they did something very inappropriate down to the end, leaving a bitter taste in our mouths. So you wanna maintain your professionalism down to the very end. Step 4 we touched on just a little bit a couple of minutes ago, where you want to get these recommendations early. Now I'm stressing on this again because you want to make sure you've collected those stories and you've documented the evidence for this particular season of your career. When you have those things documented, you have tools in your hand, you have gold nuggets in your hand that you can take on to the next venture, whether it's an entrepreneurial venture or the next job or whatever else you're going to do. The world is a lot smaller than you realize, and news will travel about the good things that you did and the bad things. And of course, you know, bad news travels fast. So you want to have documented evidence of the good things that you've done. I had an experience recently where I moved to a different job in a completely different country, and I needed a recommendation for my file. And I was able to call one of my old clients, and he was glad to write a nice recommendation for me based on the work that we've done before. So those things are absolutely crucial. Step 4 to this is getting those recommendations early. Step 5 is optional in terms of how you want to execute this, but step 5 is to give an epic thank you. Give an epic thank you. Now, you can start with this being very simple, where you send the usual farewell email. Hey everybody, I'm leaving in a couple of weeks. I'll be gone in a couple of days. Thank you so much for the times we shared together and the work we were able to do. Here's my personal contact information. Cool. Nice basic thank you email. If you want to get a little bit more personal and make sure you can leverage these relationships going forward, you can cherry pick certain people and actually take them to lunch or take them to coffee and say, hey, I don't want you to hear about this through HR. I want to have a personal conversation with you and let you know I appreciate everything you've taught me, and this is the next move I'm going to make. People will remember that you singled them out from the general farewell email and you took the time to give them a personal thank you. The other touch you can do is using handwritten thank you notes. This is a lost art form that still gets to people's core. When you receive a handwritten note or a handwritten letter, I mean, when's the last time you got a letter with a stamp in the mail that was handwritten by somebody's trashy handwriting or whatever it is, then signed in ink? If you can start doing thank you notes that are handwritten, and you might not do this for everybody, but people who you really want to make sure you leave an impression on, or people who you really appreciate, you leave them a handwritten thank you note, that's going to make a big difference. The last one I'll throw out there for you as an option for leaving this epic thank you is to throw a party. I did this one time where I'm getting ready to leave a job, it's my last day, and instead of just walking out the door and giving everybody a high five as I'm going, I actually hired a private waffle company to throw a waffle breakfast in the office, making, custom a la carte waffles as people order them live in the office. The important thing to do around this though is to make sure you frame this in a way that says you're saying thank you and showing appreciation to the people that you worked with. You don't want this to come off as, hey everybody, come celebrate the fact that I'm leaving. No, you want to make sure it's obvious that you're doing this for them and it's not about you. You want to make sure you're showing your appreciation to the people that have been working with you. But you want to make sure at the end of it, you give an epic thank you. That's all for this video. That's all for this video. If you want a deep dive on more information where we talk about how to quit your job like a boss, you can go over to focustofire.com and check out episode 77 and 69. We'll have both of those linked up for you in the description below. If you enjoyed this video and got value out of it, we'd be so grateful if you give us a like and a subscribe below so we can keep growing the channel. You can find me on Twitter at Dalan. Please drop me a line. I'd love to hear from you. Until the next video, have a powerful week.